All right, today we are diving deep into the world of cybercrime. But listen, this is not your average story about some shadowy hacker in a dark room. No, this is a real-life, high-stakes game of cat and mouse between one absolutely brilliant researcher and a chaotic and, frankly, dangerous online community. That right there, that's from FBI Special Agent Ryan Brogan. And the Allison he's talking about is Allison Nixon, who is without a doubt one of the most effective hacker hunters on the planet. I mean, he says she's helped the FBI track down and arrest more than 24 cybercriminals since 2011. Her skills are, in his words, just unparalleled. So the message is clear. If you end up on their list, it's game over.
But what happens when that dynamic flips? What happens when the hunter suddenly becomes the hunted? Allison Nixon, the very person law enforcement calls for help, found herself as the target of a really vicious campaign of death threats. The big question is, why? And what on earth was she going to do about it?
So this is where the story really kicks into high gear. Nixon is suddenly in a hacker's crosshairs, and at first, she has absolutely no idea why. The hostility, it just seemed to come completely out of the blue.
It all started after this huge data breach involving AT&T customer call logs. A hacker going by the alias Waifu just starts sending her these awful threats. Now, the really weird part, Nixon wasn't even investigating Waifu at the time. He hadn't been on her radar for a while. So for her, these threats were a total mystery. Imagine that.
To really get what's going on here, we have to understand the group that's behind all this. See, this wasn't just some lone wolf hacker. Waifu was part of this sprawling, shadowy online community known simply as the Calm.
So what is the Calm? Well, think of it kind of like a cybercrime youth movement. It's this loose network of mostly teens and 20-somethings who started out doing pranks, disrupting websites, but they've escalated, like dramatically. We're talking major corporate data theft, crypto heists, extortion, and even real-world violence, hitting huge companies like AT&T, Microsoft, and Uber. And this didn't just happen overnight. Let's look at how this threat evolved. Back around 2011, their predecessor group called The Scene was all about getting famous online. Hijacking gaming accounts, launching DDoS attacks. But then by 2018, as crypto prices went through the roof, the Calm showed up with a brand new focus: making money. Then, of course, the pandemic hits in 2020, and with everyone stuck at home, their membership just exploded.
Now, you might be thinking, a bunch of kids, how dangerous can they really be? Well, one researcher, who actually stays anonymous for safety, says the Calm is as big a threat as Russia or China. Why? It's simple. State-sponsored hackers, they have limits. They have to worry about international laws, retaliation. The Calm, they have no rules. None. Their motivation is this chaotic cocktail of ego, anarchy, and profit. They are totally, completely unrestrained.
So you've got this anarchic growing threat on one side. Who's standing against them? Let's get back to Allison Nixon and really dig into what makes her the person the FBI has on speed dial.
This quote from Nixon herself really gets to the core of her talent. She says, and I love this, "I have a special talent that I can wade through garbage and it doesn't bother me." And that garbage, all those messy chat logs, is exactly where she finds the investigative gold. Her method honestly sounds deceptively simple. First, she goes where the hackers hang out. Second, she just patiently sifts through thousands and thousands of posts full of bragging and petty arguments. Third, she looks for what they call OPSE, operational security mistakes. These are tiny little slips where they might reveal a real city name, an old job, a school. And then she takes all those little fragments and compiles them into a dossier that can expose who they really are.
Okay, so with the threats now getting personal, Nixon had all the motivation she needed. She turned that incredibly powerful method of hers directly on her tormentor, Waifu. The hunt was officially on. And Waifu, well, he basically made it a personal challenge. He was a skilled hacker, for sure, but also incredibly impulsive and just desperate for attention. He bragged constantly, taunted investigators, and in this one moment of pure arrogance, he even told another researcher that he lived in Canada, totally convinced he was untouchable. Big mistake. And this, right here, this is Nixon's whole philosophy in a nutshell. She says that these hackers' schemes often completely fall apart because of their own egos. That exact phenomenon, that burning need to boast and be seen, is what she has built her entire career on exploiting.
So how does she exploit it? It's brilliant. She draws this huge investigative circle around her target. She's not just looking for clues from the hacker, but from the people they fight with online. She actually says a target's enemies and, get this, their ex-girlfriends are often the best sources for intel. She loves them, because that's where the real juicy information spills out.
So, with Nixon on the case and Waifu getting more and more reckless, the investigation started hurtling towards its inevitable conclusion. The walls were closing in.
And let's be clear, this wasn't just about some online threats. The stakes here were huge. Prosecutors allege that Waifu and his crew extorted at least $2.5 million from just 3 victims of a massive data breach at the cloud company Snowflake. We're talking serious money. And then, the mask came off. Waifu was identified as Connor Riley Moucka, a 25-year-old high school dropout living with his grandfather in Ontario, Canada. Yeah, the untouchable super hacker wasn't so untouchable after all. The end came pretty quick after that. A plainclothes officer actually visited his house on some pretext just to confirm it was him. Nixon believes that visit totally spooked him, which led to even more erratic behavior online. And just 9 days later, on October 30th, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police converged on his home and arrested him.
But look, arresting one member, even a really prominent one, doesn't just dismantle a whole community like the Com. This fight is far from over.
Even after the arrest, Nixon says the remaining members of Waifu's group are still taunting her. But her resolve is just absolute. She says they're getting taken out one by one, and she's just going to keep doing it until there's no one left. I mean, what a powerful statement of intent. And that really leaves us with one final thing to think about. In this digital Wild West we live in, where does the real power lie? Is it with the chaotic forces who try to build these empires of anarchy just for profit and ego? Or does it lie with the patient, meticulous hunters like Allison Nixon, who wade through all that noise to find the truth, one tiny mistake at a time?